Good morning, everyone. I'm Mayank Shah. I'm the founder and CEO of Minority Supplier Development UK. Uh, we are delighted to have Arnab Dutt, who, as an entrepreneur with nearly 20 years of experience of running a small business in this country, especially in manufacturing, and also now an advisor to the government as part of small business panel and national policy advisor at FSB, the Federation for Small Business. I'm delighted to have him on this podcast. We all going through very difficult times, something that we haven't seen in our lifetime, and especially for small businesses and startup businesses. These are very challenging times. It's a question of survival. It's a question of supporting our workforce, our employees who are in small business like our family. How do we support them? What the government is doing? How can they come out of this challenge successfully and with little damage? And I think this is very important that this whole situation has brought communities together, businesses together. We are all in it together to come out of this. And I'm really delighted to have Arnab to join us in this podcast. So welcome Arnab to this. And my first question, as part of your role at the with the central government as well as on FSB, what are the support systems available to small businesses introduced by the government? Can you share some information of where businesses and the network can go and find those information?
Good morning, Mayank, and thank you for inviting me to take part in this podcast. So I'm hoping I can give a little bit of information, reiterating some of the information that's come out this week from the government. I think this announcement made on March the 20th was very, very important in understanding that there is support, and the processes for building the support, especially for the self-employed, are still in motion. And so we say to those who are self-employed and running micro businesses, hang on, the FSB has been lobbying to ensure that they receive the parity of support and financial help that is being offered to some of the larger businesses in employee retention. And I think one of the most important and difficult problems at the moment is managing cash flow. So the first thing I would say to your members is talk to your customers, see if they can pay you on time. If you're in the public sector or being supplied by the public sector, there is a prompt payment scheme, and government and local authorities are advising and encouraging their tier one suppliers to pay promptly, and if in many cases immediately. And if you aren't being paid, get onto those customers and advise them to do the right thing by you, especially if they want to keep you as a supplier. Talk to your bank as well. The scheme announced by the Chancellor, which guarantees 80% of the business interruption loans now available. Those loans are up to £5 million, and you'll be paying 0% interest for the first 12 months. Now, of course, no one really wants to take out a loan, but right now, cash is king, and have those conversations, get the process going. For those of you in the hospitality sectors, and there are many of you in the hotel and hospitality and retail sectors, ensure you get your £10,000 or £25,000 from the rates rebate. Now, that should come to you automatically. With any luck, you shouldn't have to inquire or seek any help from the government. It's all on HMRC sites, it's all on the local government sites. They know who you are. That money will be coming to you shortly. Make sure that you do not pay your VAT next month. You've got that holiday. Take advantage of the cash that you have in that. And then, of course, for many of you with micro businesses, you'll be normally expected to pay this April the full amount you owe for last year. Now, that's been put forward to 2021. So if you had put aside monies for tax, you can now keep that for your cash flow. That's really, really important. And I'm not going to teach anyone to suck eggs. I'm sure you're all good at managing cash flow. And these schemes will take a little time to come down to you, and they should be cascading down, and we're pushing government to make sure they cascade and they don't trickle down to you. And I'm hoping that by the end of April, you'll have the monies you need to come out of this on the other side. And if you're not aware, the extension to the interest-free period will probably increase. However, for a month or so, it does sound like that's a really long time. For many of you, you'll be thinking, I literally have a couple of weeks. So take my advice, carry out the actions that I've mentioned before, and hopefully that will give you the breathing space for April, so that you'll be able to receive and have those that financial support that the government are providing by the end of this month.
Thank you, Arnab. Thank you for all the information. And I think it's also important to say that the government, the current government, has come out very quickly on providing a comprehensive package to small and micro businesses. At the same time, this economy thrives and depends on a lot of what we call gig workers or self-employed, who are the backbone of this economy, especially in the events and hospitality industry. And they are at the moment worrying about how they are going to carry on. Any advice, any support or information you have got for them?
I know this doesn't sound wonderful, but I would say to you, hang on in there, because the support is coming. The difficulty is, recommendations have been that HMRC will have what you earned last year and to pay you what you had last year. Now, 80% of the self-employed don't pay tax because they don't earn enough. Okay. That's been taken into account. But there are many people who will have no record of what they earned last year because they've recently become self-employed. So the challenge now for the government is, how do we square that circle? How do we ensure that they are paid fairly and can continue in their self-employment, even though they've actually joined that sort of part of the workforce fairly recently? But I am hoping that we will have an answer by the end of the week. And I assure you that the Federation of Small Businesses, the CBI, British Chambers, we are all on this. We are pushing, we are making suggestions, and fighting on everyone's behalf to ensure that the government respond very quickly. We've made suggestions on the measures they should take. We'll see what's announced, and hopefully they will be announced by the end of this week. If you have any other issues, one thing you should know about is 500 million has been allocated to local government from central government funding for hardship funds for self-employed and micro businesses. So please do contact your local authority and see if you can have access to that money, that hardship fund, immediately. There is also a very, very good helpline at Bays. You can phone 0300 456 3565. That's 0300 456 3565. Now, I'm not saying you'll get through straight away, because I'm expecting there to be a lot of people using that helpline, but you can go onto the website, and I would advise you, obviously, to keep in touch with the MSDUK website, where there's some great information, but you can also go on to your own other trade associations. Please go onto the FSB website, put that name in any browser, and you'll go it'll take you straight on there. And there is a host of information that we're putting up, that we're updating literally on an hourly basis as that information comes through. Use that information, use that help, and use that guidance, and do it every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Arnab. And I think I want to now focus on our experiences. Both of us have been entrepreneurs for the last so many years, and we have gone through so many ups and downs in our businesses. And our people make us successful. Our team, people who we employ, they are part of our family, and we want to make sure that they also manage this challenge properly. But what sort of advice you would give to CEOs, entrepreneurs, head of businesses, for struggling to maintain that calm? how do we manage that emotional balance to make sure that our teams are working properly, we look after our people, but also as business leaders, we try to get a grip over this challenge and try to have a business continuity sort of plan where we can keep supporting our clients, our suppliers, as well as our people that we employ.
Mike, that's a really great question, and there's no solid answer. And you're right, it's experience. And from a very personal note, I would say your staff, of course, would be full of anxiety, and your colleagues would be full of anxiety. Uh, they will be fearful, and so will you. But this is really the time you need to lead. So how do you do that? So I think there are four things you need at the moment. You need to demonstrate trust in your workforce, and demonstrate that they can trust you. You need to show compassion, because they will be fearful. They'll be fearful for their families. They look at the news every night and they are hearing some appalling things. And because of that, you're going to have to show that you can lead, and a good leader is a compassionate leader. The third thing is stability. Be stable, be solid, be dependable, be almost like a father figure, like Mayank. Be someone that they can look up to. And the fourth, you must offer hope, because without hope, it'll be very, very difficult for them to carry on at this time. So these are quite big asks, but that's what leadership is really about. So have an action plan. In your mind, understand what you need to do. And importantly, the information I've given you before will help, because that'll give you an idea of what the environment is, how your customers are behaving, how your suppliers will behave, and more importantly, what help you can get from the government. And all that information you need to communicate, and keep communication open at all times. Here's something I think is really important that you need to know. Stanford University showed that people working from home remotely are 20% more productive. Just think about that. So there's an opportunity. Perhaps what we're doing now will become the new normal. It may help you change the very model of your business. We see people using more online tools. We see retail and hospitality businesses using delivery and home delivery options, things they'd never considered before. We see consultancy firms doing far more webinars. And you'll find that your staff and yourself maybe have a lot more time on your hands. Certainly in the last 2 weeks, I've found I'm better organized and have more time and get more work done, because I'm not traveling everywhere. And because when you do have a webinar, when you have a conference online, you have to be precise, you have to get your message across. There's no time for erring and umming and thinking about things. You just need to get it done, and you need to get it done efficiently. Now, I'm not saying that anything can replace that human contact or that face-to-face meeting, because we all need that. But there are many times you might want to think about your business. Do you really need to travel all the way up the motorway or get on a train, increase your carbon footprint and create more pollution? So think about all these things. Okay. And in terms of leadership, talk to your peers. MSDUK is a wonderful organization because you have a lot of other business leaders and entrepreneurs with you. And I say to you, that is a wonderful resource. And also, I mean, we have it at the FSB, and the best advice I get and the best help is actually having that conversation, even if you're at home. Get onto your Skype, get onto your Zoom like we are now, and have a chat. Have a chat with the MD of your suppliers or your customers. Certainly talk to your colleagues and friends and fellow members at MSDUK. How are they coping? What advice can they give you? What experience can you share? You know, this is a really important time where we can learn from each other. So those are probably my little pieces of advice for you. I don't have all the answers, but this will be a time when you can show that real leadership and reimagine how your business will be in the future.
I think, you raised one very important point, and it's about peer-to-peer support. And, MSDUK has some exceptional entrepreneurs in our community. And what we started doing was, yesterday, since yesterday, we are organizing a weekly entrepreneur to entrepreneur sort of call, a webinar, open to all entrepreneurs in our network. They can join. There's no agenda. It's a free flow, half an hour discussion where people come, entrepreneurs come, share their common challenges, share some of the things that they are doing innovatively to motivate their team, support their team. And I would encourage any business who's listening to this podcast to join us on this weekly webinar where we are going to bring you other entrepreneurs in our community to come together. We all need to support each other to come out of this tragedy, this crisis. And I'm sure that when we come out of this, we will be better off. We will be back onto a normal, and we will be successful. So keep hanging on to this. Take as much support as you can from your peers. Look after your team, and hopefully, we'll see a better future. So finally, thank you so much, Arnab, for sharing your thoughts, sharing your experiences, and taking time out of your busy schedule to provide advice and support to our business in the MSDUK community. Thank you so much.
It's been my pleasure, Mayank. Thank you very much.